We're all live. We're all set.
We're on the internet.
We're on the airwaves. How are you feeling today, sir?
Oh, good. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just working to get my real estate license so I can start saving to buy a house. And I want to take a vacation to French Bora Bora with a very attractive woman.
Bora
So
Bora.
that's on the to-do list. So
Is there a woman in mind, or just?
no,
Uh,
let's go to Vegas, get drunk, see what happens.
oh, okay.
Like, hey, babe, you want to go with me to Bora Bora?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah, that's
if that's what works,
definitely
right?
a healthy way of finding a significant other.
You gotta find him somehow, man.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know. Well, uh I found a I'm talking to this girl now on what's WhatsApp, I think it's called.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't WhatsApp like what people overseas use to just like text?
Yeah, it's also more secure and very private. So there's that factor.
Uh,
That's a way to factor into it too. So she seems pretty nice, and she hasn't tried to get me to buy a certain kind of Bitcoin or like to pay for her visa and all her family to come over. So far we're doing okay. She says that she lives out of LA, but you know how that can be.
because that's
So
where everyone lives.
yeah, so we'll just see what happens. But she seems nice. She actually has like human responses to the things I say, so that's like a good change of pace, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
human responses are always good.
yeah, well, it's funny. It's just because I'm not on any form of social media anymore, even Snapchat. I deleted my Snapchat. So she was trying to get me to talk outside of the app because she doesn't like using for whatever reason she didn't want to use the app. And she's like, "Hey, you can message me on WhatsApp." I'm like, "I don't have WhatsApp, but you can email me." And she's like, "Is that how you talk to most everybody you know?" And I'm like, "Well, no." And she's like, "Exactly." And then she doesn't respond to me after that. So
Ah,
yeah, we'll
well, that's
just
not very nice.
well, we'll just see what happens. I don't know. I
No,
feel like I need a good cold-hearted bitch in my life. You never know when those things are important.
I mean, you shouldn't aim for that though.
Yeah.
You should
Well,
aim
it's one
for
part of it could be one part of a more complex personality.
yeah,
Because it's
that's
important to
true.
have a woman that tells you what she wants in the moment. It's kind of my mind about it.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
I'm trying to do an audio test, but my
Uh,
thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Nope. Sounds good. Cool.
all right, we good.
Hey, we
What's
good.
been going on in the life of you, KG, Kaj, K, big K?
Um, just work really, and trying to trying to figure things out along the way, but mostly just work, honestly. That's all I do.
Well,
So
that's all most of us do these days.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoy my work, and I'm learning a buttload of things and doing better every day. So
Good.
um,
That's the most important thing is that A, you're learning, and like B, that it's something you could just show up and do every day.
yeah, I mean, the thing is like someone told me this too because like the more I've moved up, I find like there's less to do day to
Mm.
day than like entry level stuff. And someone told me, they said, yeah, when you're like in a big company or anything like that, like when you first start in entry level, like your whole day is just work, all work,
Yep.
work all the
Yep.
time. But then like the more you move up, the more ambiguous your job gets, and not only that,
Yeah.
the more meetings you have and the less work you actually do.
Do. Yeah. The more you talk about doing good work and rather than actually doing good work, promote office synergy. What was that one song by Lily Allen, Like a Boss?
Uh,
I think that's the idea. Middle management is a very strange, confusing world. That is for sure. Like the more the corporate executive, this and that, it's I don't know. It's strange. It's always been so strange to me. Like, to me, a company should be very clear cut about like what positions are what, because that leaves the opportunity for
Right.
nepotism and stuff like that to sink in. That's just
Yeah, nepotism.
yeah.
That's a thing. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like, I haven't really been doing a whole lot else. I mean, I go to the gym still. I've been reading. I started to read The Fall of Gondolin.
There you go.
And,
That's one of the lost.
yeah, but it got published as its own book with like more detail and stuff. So that's really cool. I've been really enjoying it. Just like I don't know, it's like there's something about the way it that like Tolkien writes that's like very endearing. But like it's only endearing once you're used to it, because like if you're not used to it, it's very off-putting.
Yeah, well, it's just a very highly complex. It's prose. It's his personal prose. It's 30 years of being an English professor, not an English professor, a language professor at Oxford.
Yeah.
It's like sipping a really really well made wine or something like that. Just someone who knows what they're doing, someone who knows how to write a story and tell you one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, other than that, nothing.
Yeah, same. Like I've just been studying for my real estate, California real estate salesperson's license, as it's called, for the big test. You got to drive up to SAC to take. I think we should get to another day after the test. I'll let you know what day I end up going up.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, even though I don't know if we can be able to get dinner because it sounds like the state's going back on lockdown again, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. My work won't budge, I don't think. I think we'll be in the office. I think they're committed to that, even though we get notices every day of like 5 people testing positive every day.
Yeah, it's crazy. It seems like this seems like the most intense point of the pandemic, but it seems like the most lax at the same time.
Well, it's just crazy because it's like the government keeps telling you do this, do that, and we'll beat the pandemic. It's like we've been doing it for 2 years and we're not beating the pandemic. So either what you're telling us doesn't work, or hey, maybe we can go back to basic elementary school biology and understand that this is how viruses work, and not be stupid about it. But people get very intense.
People that are just very high risk could have stayed home. That wouldn't have exactly been the worst cost. And younger people could have got vaccinated as soon as possible and kept going. But I don't know. Crazy world we're in right now.
Yeah, but instead of focusing on things like that, we just paint. It's a weird thing to just paint everyone with the same brush.
Yeah.
But hey, we're all in it together, except we're more divided than ever. So,
yeah. And I just think we're more divided because more people need to do what I do, which is just get the fuck off of social media. Just straight up delete all the apps. Like it's at the end of the day, it's just a kind of another drug, and if you can't use it in a healthy fashion, you shouldn't be on it. And it's just
cancer. Like
it's just morphing you to a worse human being. Like it's damaged my I feel like my ability to speak has been damaged because of how long I've spent on social media. Or do you ever feel like you're just talking memes or something like that?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the fact that people argue and go back and forth in comment sections and fucking jerk each other off and stuff, like, it's fucking weird, dude. And like, especially like Twitter. Like, Twitter is the fucking cesspool of it all.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird thing that happens. So
yeah,
I mostly avoid it. I never comment on people's things. I think it's just a waste of time. And
yeah, I think for me, I don't know. My problem is like it's just part of my personality. I guess is when something says something stupid, I just go like, okay, I'm gonna fucking comment to let you know how wrong you are. But so I just threw up my hands and deleted them all, except for dating apps, which kind of makes me a hypocrite. But whatever. At least I'm talking to girls.
Yeah.
At least I'm trying to improve a skill.
I think it's just like easy for people to get in their own mind and like believe that everything they think is true because they've heard it or been told it, instead of like challenging the things they believe.
Exactly.
Uh,
We're just
and
trying to learn a new skill, something
yeah,
like that.
and maybe it is true. Maybe you've been right all along, but maybe not. So like for me, I think it's always important. Like if I see a comment that I'm like, wow, this person's an idiot, and I disagree with them, then I always think right after that, okay, why do I disagree with them? Why am I right and they're wrong? Am I right and they're wrong?
Yes,
Because
that's the thing. You take all those comments and you just go, yes, 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 and then you fucking go after him, dude. Go for the throat.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I avoid all that nonsense. I'm not interested in going back and forth with people.
Yep, and that's why I had to quit cold turkey. At least if a newspaper article prints something I really disagree with, I gotta like send a letter in, and then I really gotta think about what I'm writing in.
Yeah. The thing is too, like, social media is not a place for people to be prideful, but everybody is prideful on social media, even if they act like they're not or say they're not, or like, low self-esteem. I don't like myself. Like, these people have the biggest egos because like they can't just let something go, or they can't just like accept something for what it is. Like, even like I posted something one time like years ago, just like saying something, and someone commented and like, well, you're wrong. And I was like, that's all right, like, we can disagree. I'm not going to argue with you. And they're like, okay, but tell me why you think you're right. And I'm like, no, that's all right, dude. Like, it's all right. I don't need to. If you want to see things from another perspective, you can do your own research if that's something you're interested in. But it's not my job to tell you why I'm right or you're wrong. Like, it doesn't accomplish anything. But like, it just wouldn't let it go, and I just ignored it. Like, because again, like, if you have this big pride and you have to feel like you need to argue and like, oh yeah, this is why I'm gonna argue with you. Like, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna tell you why you're wrong, because in your mind you're not wrong. And if you're that open to the other side, then you would do your own research into it instead of asking random people on social media whose education may or may not be better than yours.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's it's so lowbrow. Like, nobody cites actual citable sources. Like, everyone does everything with a quick Google search. They don't even use Google Scholar. Like, these things that a lot of people engage in, these arguments, like you said, like, they are like we've talked before about it on the podcast, is they're extremely complex. They take sometimes years to understand completely, especially like when it comes down to geopolitics or how different countries interact with different countries.
well, and on top of all that, I mean, like, when I first started podcasting, like way back when, and we worked together, like, you asked me, like, how do you get like reliable like nerd news and stuff, or like, because the thing is, there's a lot of shit news that, like, my friend texts me all the time. He's like, did you hear about Spider-Man being in a black suit in the next movie?
I wonder who that is.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, you're just reading what somebody says, and then you're not reading the articles or anything else. Like, and then when you read the articles, it's like, we have an inside source and like whatever. And it's like, these news sites exist to get you to click and read their dumbass articles. They don't exist to actually present news. Like, people writing them aren't Hollywood insiders and shit. Like, there are legitimate news sites and sources with verified news. And if you want to speculate and talk about rumors, you can do that all you want. Like, that's fine, but you're never gonna convince me that what someone says because they have an insider's quote is true. I mean, like, and that's what you find all over Facebook and social media. You find fucking John Lennon quotes attributed to fucking Benjamin Franklin and shit. Like,
or just like what happened, or like something more recent and in the fresh to the head, so people can understand how fucking crazy it's getting. It's like what happened with that Supreme Court justice, when a major news outlet, I can't remember what it was like The Hill or some other, no, it was like The Reporter. It was some sort of like Washington D.C. major
like Examiner and Inquirer or something. Like,
but it was like one that was actually respected, and it's weird because like they said that this Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor was at a restaurant eating maskless, and she's obviously a very strong advocate for more stringent lockdown procedures. And it turns out she wasn't even at the freaking restaurant.
It was probably Washington Post.
Yeah, it was like super bad, and it was.
I don't think any of it's bad, because the thing is, like, when here in California, Newsom, he goes out without a mask all the time, but he keeps telling us what we have to do, right? And people always say, oh, well, he's a hypocrite, blah blah blah, and it's like you're focusing on the wrong thing here. You're not focusing on the right thing. The right thing to focus on is that he doesn't care, right? And if you don't want to care, you shouldn't have to either. But because of his policies, you do have to, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about him being a hypocrite. It's just about him showing you, like, I don't even care what my health experts say, and I don't believe them, or they don't believe what they're saying. Like, pretty much the pandemic has been, throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it's done. Like, nobody actually knows what works and what doesn't. And even when they do, I mean, people just kind of ignore them, right?
Yeah.
So we have very good evidence about vaccines working. We have very good evidence about masks really not working. But they still want us to wear them because it makes people feel safe, and feeling safe is more important than being safe. And it allows you to go on with life as if nothing's wrong, right? But then you look at it and you say, oh, well, we've had a mask mandate, across all public everything in California again since December 15th, and we've had more cases than ever in the past week. How does that happen? Well, it happens because, number one, the virus strain right now is more contagious, right, than anything else. But you look at, like, Newsom was talking about hospitals might, get overfilled again, right? And then they show the numbers. Last year at this time, we had 50,000 cases. This year, we have 100,000 cases a day, right? Oh, but hospitalizations last year were like, that was the hospitalization number, was 50,000 last year. And this year, twice the cases, half the hospitalizations.
Yeah.
Right? But it doesn't mean anything to people. Like, all they hear is, well, I need to feel safe, and this is what makes me feel safe, right?
And I also want to acknowledge, too, there are a lot of people I know that because of the virus, and because it's a well-known fact, though, I think what they were saying is comorbidities. What I'm saying is, I think the better way of putting it is if you're extremely unhealthy, I know a lot of people that are actually genuinely, like, getting healthier because of what they're afraid of, essentially what, the COVID virus is going to do to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. I wish you didn't need such a dire reason to get healthy, but if it works, it works. And I don't know. I got boosted and I felt like shit, and I could definitely tell, like, why other people are just afraid to get boosted. And
I got it too, and I didn't have anything from it. I mean, I had really bad, like, a day after my regular vaccine, but from the booster I didn't have shit, so that was fine. But yeah, I mean, it is true, like, there are a lot of people that are at risk and whatever else, and it's like, well, if you care about other people, like, you should do everything you can to whatever, like, to protect them. And it's like, well, America's never been a country where we've said, I need to take care of everyone else, right? Like, America's always been a country of, like, I'll take care of myself, and people who feel unsafe or at risk should take care of themselves instead of forcing me to do something for them, right? Like, the pandemic has just also made a lot of people really extreme in their beliefs, but, like, if you apply them to other things, it makes no sense. It's like, oh, well, if you go around without a mask, you shouldn't be able to get treated at a hospital. Okay, well, if you smoke cigarettes and you're morbidly obese, should you also not be able to get treated? I mean, they treat people who cause DUIs and kill people. They treat criminals like you don't choose who you save and who you don't. Like,
the healthcare system in prison is arguably better than most some of the healthcare options offered by insurance carriers today.
Yeah,
which is really fucked up. Oh, by the way, fuck the American healthcare system.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's because we don't have a health care system. We have a health insurance system, right?
Yeah, and it's also because we have essentially a for-profit system, mostly for medical schools that charge people $400,000 to go there to learn how to be a healer, when it should, in a free and open society, technically just be based solely on academic merit. I don't know. At least that's what I think.
Well, I think it's
academic and willingness to heal others. Like that's do no harm. Very important.
yeah. I think there's always like a give and take with things like this. Like I think a for-profit system
Mm.
is a good system when it comes to progressing medicine.
Yeah.
But when you have anything for profit, anything in a capitalist society, people always get left behind, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying that as someone against capitalism. I'm a capitalist #1 supporter, okay? But
Mm.
um,
You card
uh,
carrying capitalists like Warren Buffett.
well, Warren Buffett is an interesting figure because he likes to mislead the American people in certain
Mm.
ways. Warren Buffett loved to talk about how his secretary paid more in taxes than him,
Yeah.
but that's because Warren Buffett doesn't have an income, and
Yeah.
he's talking about income taxes, and he probably pays his secretary very well, right? Like increasing income taxes on the rich doesn't do anything. It just increases income taxes on all of us. Like they
Yeah.
don't have an income. They make money through assets and capital gains and things like that. And obviously there are ways that you can tax those, and there are ways around that system as well. But anyway, we're not here to talk about politics, I guess. I mean,
We talk about everything.
the funny thing is, like, I'm sure, like, there are people that, like, maybe hear you talk or maybe hear me talk, and we don't have, like, the same perspectives or point of views on a lot of things. Like,
Yeah.
if you're talking about, fixing homelessness or socialism or anything, I'm never gonna like say, oh, you're stupid, you're wrong, or correct you or argue with you, because that's your point of view, right? Like, so people might watch and be like, oh, does he agree or disagree? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think people should think what they want, and I'm gonna think what I want, and I'm always gonna be intrigued to learn someone else's perspective, and instead of shooting it down. So
Yeah. But also the other thing is like if there are a lot of people that want the same thing and they all come together and they say, okay, we're going to vote for county representatives that we feel better represent us, that's always kind of just been the problem in this country because there's also a collection of people that want to be left totally alone.
yeah,
That,
I mean, and that's America, though, right? Like, like people who claim to love America seem to really not like how America works,
yeah,
which is the issue, because I might not agree with socialism, but if 50+ % of Americans do and they vote for it, that's America now. Like that's
yeah,
I'm not gonna say,
it's
oh,
fluid.
but I hate them. I love America and it's dying or whatever. Like no, that is the principle of America. Like it can
Yeah.
be anything the people want it to be because it is a representation of what the people want.
And it's also the greatest country on earth, full to the brim of the greatest people on earth, because we're all awesome. And also at the same time, another issue with this country that I always take a time to rap on whenever I get the chance. I'm going to do it right now. This country has a serious issue with modernity. It just does. Like there are things that are capable. There are public works that our government is more than capable of, like assigning the Corps of Engineers to. Like let's say massive interconnected high-speed electric railway system that goes to every major city metropolitan area in the U.S. made at relatively cheap cost and charging pretty much to break even, not to generate profit, because at this point, most of the trains we know, like with the most well-run trains, usually in Japan, they're almost all run by computer now. That's how they're ran. And it's just I don't know why we keep getting in the way of public transit. Like why are people so scared of public transit and stuff like that? Like
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like the best way to get drivers off the road to promote just general camaraderie between Americans, because they can make it a lot easier to travel between states and visit other states and like visit other, because it's like going to a whole other world basically.
yeah, I think on the other side of that spectrum, like as Americans, like there's a beauty to the fact that we can all get together and lobby for things like that, right? And bring it
Yes.
to the attention of our local representatives and get that moved up the chain and get it on a ballot and vote for high speed rail. I mean, when it's across major metropolitan areas, like that has to be obviously then escalated to the federal government to
Yep.
oversee. Uh, and then
Army Corps
states
of
have to
Engineers.
agree, right?
Yeah.
But that's where more kind of complications come in. But yeah, it is frustrating that.
See, and the thing is, we did it before, though.
Of
Like
course, yeah.
we built it back when it was really, really fucking hard. like really, really hard. Like, and we did some crazy shit, and we killed a lot of people, and I just don't know why we're that now.
Well, because they were Chinese people, so cared
Well,
less.
yeah, there's that. Don't forget, if anyone's ever, like you said, just remember that they built one of the most complex, interconnecting, basically one of the reasons the East and the West got connected in this country, is solely thanks to a lot of people that came over here. So,
Yeah.
in case you ever wanted to thank anyone, there you go.
But don't just randomly go around thanking Chinese people.
Yeah,
They'll be very confused.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for 200 years ago for building a railway.
Thank you for your ancestors.
Just don't be racist. That's what I'm saying, because like they worked their asses off too. We all worked our asses off to be here. So,
and most of the time, people can't tell Chinese people apart from other people because they don't understand what people look like. They just think if you're Asian, you're Chinese. But
yeah, or Japanese. I've heard that before.
Yeah, that's King of the Hill. Are you Chinese or Japanese?
Japanese.
I'm from Laos.
And then what does he do? Then remember his grandpa, Hank's dad looked him up and down. He's like, he's Laotian, ain't he? He's like, oh shit. Oh, so funny.
King of the Hill.
That's such a weird show because I hated it when I was a kid, and now coming back to it as an adult, like, oh shit, that shit was so fucking funny.
Yeah, as a kid, it's boring because you don't really get it,
Yeah.
But as an adult, you're like, ha. Dumbass rednecks.
Yeah. I don't see any of myself in these people at all. That makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah, definitely. That's why people watch Real Housewives shit, right?
Yeah.
It's I'll never be that rich and dumb.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, America.
Yeah, strange country. Very strange country. I don't know what it. All I keep just remembering is when I was a kid, they kept telling us it's the greatest country on earth. I'm like, all right, cool. So why don't we do this, this, and this? Because we're the greatest country on earth and we do whatever the fuck we want, right? And we're like, well, no, that's un-American. And I thought you said being American was doing whatever the fuck we wanted. Well, yeah, but not that. It's just such a strange conversation with these people sometimes.
Well, I think people fundamentally misunderstand what America is, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we can do a lot of things, but the people have to be in support of it, and then public health crises come in, and we lose all our freedoms anyway. So
cohesion, and it's just also about a level of social cohesion. At the end of the day, there could certainly be another virus that comes along that I don't know. Let's say has pus congregate on your skin until the spot on the skin explodes, exposing blood vessels, and you slowly bleed to death. The Black Death.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I know. Or where you just get so many, little tiny growths on the inside of your, windpipe, you suffocate, it's stuff like that, What if COVID was an aggressive lung killer that just floods your lung with a bunch of pus before you have a chance, in 3 days before you have realized what's going on, It's strange. I don't know. Like I said before, and I'll keep saying, really good, excellent public health measures are not very cohesive with a free and open society. And that's a very weird song and dance this country was going to have to do. Well, I think it'll happen at one point. At some point, we're going to get a really bad disease. At some point, I think
really
it already
happened, though. We've already shown what we'll do. And even then, there's massive public criticism for it, right? I mean, when Donald Trump shut down the borders to China, people just said he was being racist, which, let's get something clear. Donald Trump is a racist, but that doesn't mean everything he does is because of a racist reason, right?
Yeah, he's an idiot. But also at the same time, he started the Space Force, which is something I've been advocating for 20 years. As soon as I realized we don't have an independent branch of the military dedicated to, figuring shit out in space.
But I think if there is word of a major disease or virus growing somewhere overseas, the first thing you should absolutely do is shut down your borders, right? But that gets a lot of hate. I mean, if it was someone else who was president, maybe it wouldn't have got so much hate. But that this is something I've always told people. These two things cannot coincide. You cannot have both freedom and public safety. They'll never exist together. If you want public safety, you will lose your freedoms.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people are okay with that, right?
Yeah. And two, I think, and the good thing about the United States also is that there are areas you can move to where public safety is more of higher concern. You know, San Francisco's been on lockdown for the last 2 years. I don't think it's ever opened up.
It's true, but
and also at the same time, I'm not defending San Francisco though, because they made a lot of really bad decisions. The city council's made a lot of really bad decisions that basically like kept stabbing that city in the back with a knife, and then going like, "Man, why is the city bleeding to death?"
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's always a really bad idea to move somewhere because of the politics there, because politics change quickly,
well,
right?
what I'm saying is like more you can move to a county, let's say that's extremely densely populated, or you can move to a county where the population is extremely dispersed. You know, there's no concentration of population. That's more like being able to move into an area where you'll be able to either be left alone or be bothered by somebody. If you live in an apartment building, who your neighbors are actually has kind of a big impact on your day-to-day life. If you live on a 10-acre ranch in Central California, who your neighbors are, it's not going to come around too often. You know, unless you want to interact with them because, you know, good old hanging out, you know, classic country stuff. But at the same time, like, you're not going to be hearing your neighbors pounding it out every night on the bed.
Yeah, I think like you know, a lot of people want to move to Texas because it's red, right? And like they want to get out of California, which is super blue. But I'm telling you, Texas will go blue in the next 15 years. Like if you look at every metropolitan area in Texas, Dallas, Austin, Houston, they're all blue cities, all of them. Like. And I think it'll continue.
It's part of city living, because at the end of the day, when you're living in where the population is in an extremely confined area, public safety and public policy matters much more to people's daily lives. You know, who the police are, like stuff like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, police tend to be much harder in those areas.
It's because they feel like they're waging a war, and then at the end of the day, when you have a bunch of people feeling like they're waging a war against a certain unknown population, they're always just going to become bitter and brutal and angsty and ugh.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw the experiment in the '90s in New York, right? Like we all know about broken window laws and the effects that they had on disproportionately on certain members of society, and how it just doesn't work anyway, right? Like it's a nightmare.
And also police being the first people called to what is obviously a mental health situation. You know, people who are having severe mental health breakdowns are just going crazy because the society we built around ourselves is extremely complex, and it can be very overwhelming if you're not capable of dealing with it. And then, you know, next thing you know, you're taking a bunch of drugs, running around the street because you're having a breakdown, you're having a mental breakdown, and the police come and they're like the last people I think that should arrive to that scene. I don't know. Like, it shouldn't even be paramedics. It should be like some dude who knows karate in full body armor with like a stun baton to like grab you and throw you in.
So you want Daredevil to show up
and throw you into like a padded room so you can just freaking have your mental breakdown because of someone who's had a mental breakdown. There are times when I wish someone could have just thrown me into a freaking padded room because it's just you know, 5150 situations are becoming more and more common every day across this country, and it's gonna
mental health crisis.
Yeah, you know, and eventually, you know, this is a dark topic, but this happened in Japan, so it's going to happen here. You know, we're probably going to see a spike in suicide eventually, because I haven't done any serious reading.
I think we already have, haven't we? I mean, it's not like widely reported because everything in the news is COVID, but
yeah, it's number 5 or number 6 now. You know, I remember when I was like 13 or 14, it was like number 11 or 12. It just keeps going up and up and up. It's just sad and stupid. And like I said, I think modernity is a part of it. Just the daily things that the government can provide to its citizens. Like I said, I wish I could just get on a train for a pretty average fair price and like, you know, take a nap while I go down to LA to visit my sister rather than having to A, drive, B, fly, or C, I pay like, you know, $200 for a one-way Amtrak ticket. Stuff like that. You know, people want to visit their family. It's hard to move away when you know you really can't go back to visit them. That's why a lot of people have become very sedentary. And people are like, oh man, why are people not moving states anymore? It's because it's expensive to travel now. Gas is expensive right now. It's the little things. Nickel and diamond.
Deaths of despair spiked in Washington in 2020, exceeding deaths from COVID.
There you go.
Jesus. But then you have all these weird articles like, no, the U.S. suicide rate did not increase in 2020. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure that's Fox News and Daily Wire or whatever.
It's weareiowa.com.
I don't know who that is.
Chicago Sun-Times confronting the soaring suicide rate among America's young people 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And also, I think that also has to do with social media. It drives young people, especially young people, crazy. It drove me crazy. Or I don't know. Maybe I was just crazy to begin with. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is, like, it could be true. Two things can be true at once. Suicide rates in the United States maybe didn't go up, but in all these local areas that these local news is coming from, Denver, Chicago, Georgia. I mean, all these places are reporting major spikes. Like, since November of 2021, 67 people under the age of 18 in Georgia committed suicide. That's like one a day.
Yeah, which is not good. I think also our cities look very shabby too. Like, you know, my dad said he had this problem when he used to drive around on the East Coast back in the 80s and 90s. He said everything just looked old and shitty and broken down. And now when I drive up and down the West Coast, everything looks old and shitty and broken down.
Well, I mean, isn't Highway 1 falling apart and shit? Like, people falling into the fucking ocean?
It's like this. You drive around on you drive around on the Delta, you know, the Delta that I live on. You see all these abandoned factories and all these abandoned manufacturing points. You see, like, you know, all these places where these giant cargo liners used to come in and, like, dock up because they were running out of space in Stockton to hold all these liners.
No.
And it's just, it's either those buildings should be completely demolished so you can restore serene nature, which is something at least that's beautiful and nice and pretty to look at, or they should be repurposed into something else. They shouldn't just be sitting there rotting away because the deed is held up in a trust by some dude that died 70 years ago that's still being paid by his lawyer. You know, stupid shit like that. And like, also, it's and modernity, that's what I'm saying. Modern things that our country could have that we don't have. You know, like, we could, the electricity, solar panels everywhere. You know, just for basic things like charging stations everywhere for free.
Well, solar panels are kind of a scam, though.
It depends on the solar panel, but, you know,
like, when solar panels get installed in a neighborhood, your electricity bill, like, goes down, but your electricity cost doesn't go down. They just raise the rates of everybody else in the neighborhood. Yeah,
but what if everybody in the neighborhood gets solar panels?
Well, then the electricity company gets paid by the government. I don't know. Because that's what it is. Like, it's like a subsidy from the government. It's like, because you get solar panels, we'll charge you less. But the company providing electricity to your house doesn't want to get paid less. So they still get paid more.
Also, that's another problem too, is, I don't know, it's an unhealthy relationship, I think, with growth that a lot of Americans have, where they see it as this infinite thing that just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and it never stops, and they never have to stop to take stock of, like, what they have, and they just need to keep expanding relentlessly until, I don't know, they explode. Like, growth is good, but it needs to be done in a sustainable way that's healthy for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, growth needs to be controlled, and then instead of, you know, growing, we should improve, right? Like, you know, maintenance is expensive, you know, and it's not as profitable as growing, right? It's easier or more cost effective to build a new restaurant because of the more revenue it adds to the city than it is to, you know, restructure your, you know, repave your roads. I mean, that doesn't add any money to your city, does it? So,
Yeah, but the problem is that everyone needs to drive on the roads to get to the restaurant, and if it's a shitty drive, maybe they'll stop going. So, it's a weird song and dance we do in this country. That's all I gotta say. But also, we're the greatest country on earth, so we can do it because we're the fucking best. You know, that's all I gotta say. Because we're the fucking best. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Just gotta put our minds to it. We're gonna have multiple market systems going at the same time. It's all good. No worries.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, we should probably talk about nerd stuff. I guess it's only been an hour.
Yeah, the Book of Boba Fett, guys. That thing
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's okay.
First episode was definitely a little boring. Um,
It's
well,
pretty. I I think maybe it's another one of those things that's like a victim of people's expectations, right?
yeah,
Where like you watch it and you're like, this is not what I expected at all. Um, but at the same time, like I didn't really have expectations, but I still was like, oh, this is an interesting direction, I guess. Like, but the first episode was a lot of just like, haha, I took over from Bib Fortuna, and now I am the daimyo, and I will go talk to people for 5 minutes and then have 40 minutes of flashbacks,
yeah,
which is just like, I get it, like. But if you want to tell the story of the survival of the Sarlacc pit and then, him coming up, like, I don't know why you would do that in flashbacks instead of starting there, right?
yeah,
Like, I feel like you lose a lot of the drama of, like, will he survive? Where does he go from here? If, like, we already know. But I guess, we already know he survives because of the Mandalorian, right? We saw him there. And it's a weird thing, though, to, like, kind of start like that.
yeah. Being all over the place, pacing's just all off. Into the first episode was just really boring. There wasn't a lot of shoot, fight. We got some of that, but not as much of that as I think we got in the episode. First episode of the Mandalorian was fucking crazy. Like it was just some dude
Yeah.
got chopped in half.
Well, I mean, it also doesn't feel like there are real stakes. Like, there's not real tension. Like, even when he's, like, collecting, like, the tributes and stuff, like, it's just, like, okay. Like, it's very run-of-the-mill. There's nothing, like, particularly interesting about it. Sure, when, like, the assistant mayor comes, like, it gets a little more interesting, but it's, like, okay. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
Sure. But, like, there's so much that can be interesting about, like, you know, occupying a space of power and then asserting yourself and building alliances or whatever else, right? There can be a lot of interesting things about that, but like I felt like it was all the least interesting version of that.
yeah, and I just also feel like Boba Fett wasn't wearing the helmet not
Right?
nearly enough. Like
Like
he's like yo, like
it's never been about the guy under the helmet, right? Like
yeah, it's
Boba
about
Fett
Boba
was
Fett.
fucking cool because of his helmet and armor. Like he's just always taking it off.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, man. Like, even, dude, Pedro Pascal is much better looking than Tamara Morrison, and he wears his helmet, 99% of the 2 seasons of The Mandalorian.
yeah, that's the main issue too. Like he just doesn't wear his helmet. Like I don't know what else to say. That's that's the first thing that came to mind. He wasn't wearing it enough
It
in the
did
second
bother me,
episode either.
too.
Yeah,
But, like, I get it. It's because, like, he obviously doesn't follow the same code as The Mandalorian, right? Like, he's not an extremist. He's not like that. But he said he was from the same, like, I don't know.
and he also claimed the armor from the Mandalorian in the main series, saying, "Oh, it's mine by one right." Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me show you my family seal. Like do, and like, oh, you're right, it's yours. Here you go.
yeah. But like, I don't know, man. Like,
Like there's just something that feels off. I think just generally there's something that feels off or rushed. Because like I said, I'm trying to summarize all the good stuff in my brain, right? And episode 2 was a lot better, at least to me personally. I thought the train thing. Did you watch episode 2 yet?
yeah, I
Yeah.
watched it.
I,
I did think it was better. I think the Sand People are interesting, or the Tusken
yeah.
Raiders, I guess is the politically correct term these days. Um, but like because they're so different in a lot of ways than what we've seen in the past. Even in the Mandalorian, when they showed up, like it's not like what we know of them from Star Wars, like and what we're told of them from Obi-Wan in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, but seeing like the different outfits and like different structure, And like, I don't know, the kid just looks like he's cosplaying. Let's be honest. But
Yeah. Well, it's hard to pull that off on a young. Like I could have sworn they had different outfits too in episode 2, and they actually looked moderately okay. They
the
didn't have a
the kids had like a similar outfit to the women
yeah
in episode 2, like the full on thing over their head, like the
yeah
I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a mask and then it's like a shawl kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't even keep the design of the women from Attack of the Clones because they all look alike in this in the
Yeah,
Book of Boba Fett.
I thought the fire dancing scene was cool too. Like it's pretty hard to pull that kind of shit off. And
Yeah, I thought the lizard was weird.
which
The brain lizard.
yeah, I thought the brain lizard was weird, but I actually liked that scene a lot though. You know, like the idea of finding a branch and okay, that's your gaffy stick. Like
Yeah,
I thought that was really dope, and how like they're showing him making it and shit. And yeah, good. Definitely like like they could have just like oh here take this drug okay now go water to the fucking desert like didn't have to be a lizard. You're right, but I guess
yeah.
they just wanted to turn up the weird all the way, so that's what they did.
And I thought the the like bike training was pretty goofy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't like bad or anything. It's a lot of like weird parts to the show, but it's not like it's bad. It's just
So
yeah.
it's funny because the weird parts are turning out to be the parts we're actually supposed to care about more than the flashbacks. Because the flashbacks are actually more enjoyable than the current parts we're seeing like in the future. Like I thought the Hut twins were like I don't know. I thought
Oh,
they
people were real upset like they're still CGIing the huts, but it's like
well how else are you supposed to CGI a giant slug person?
I think they want them to go back to the practical effects, like
Jabba looked pretty
Bill
cool.
Jabba, right? Like,
Yeah,
but
Jabba
yet
looked pretty.
you know, I get that, yeah.
Yeah, but that's super super duper expensive, and then we're talking about like what do you do with it after you do just fucking
Just sell it to some nerd.
yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, I like the Wookiee though. I thought his costume looked awesome. The Wookiee
Yeah,
mercenary, yeah.
yeah. I like the Wookiee.
But
Yeah.
like,
I mean, like
um,
they want you to like be concerned, right? They want you to be like, oh no, they have to get permission to kill someone. Like, who do they have to get permission from? Like, who fucking cares? Like,
yeah,
I mean, it is weird. There's like this criminal code, and I'm sure other people are controlling things, and whatever else is happening, like with the politics of Tatooine and in Mos Espa or Mos Eisley or whatever the fuck they're at during this. Like, it's just kind of not as interesting as it could be.
yeah.
So,
Um, it's I don't know. Like I think you just hit the nail on the head in the beginning. They should have just moved all this flashback shit to the forefront, made its own show in the first couple episodes, and then continued on from there because we would have cared about more about Boba Fett with the helmet off. Like we're supposed to care about Boba Fett because he's Boba Fett, but that's not how it really works. At least
right.
in my mind, that's not how it works. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have 3 movies with the guy, so that's why everyone wants him back. Boba Fett started the Mandalorian religion, but it necessarily wasn't because of Boba Fett that the Mandalorians were cool. It was just one thing, like, oh, I wonder why this guy's wearing this cool armor.
Yeah, I mean, Boba Fett always looked cool. His interactions with Darth Vader were cool, and then he fell into a Sarlacc pit. Like that.
Yeah,
That was it, right? And then sure, it sparked all sorts of things for like extended universe and whatnot. And then obviously George Lucas brought him back as a kid in episode 2.
yeah,
But nobody cared about Kid Boba Fett. He wasn't cool at all. Like, he was fucking weird and lame. So, I mean, Jango Fett was cool, but
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's just I feel like they could have structured the show better. Like, I'm not quite sure what the tone of the show is.
yeah,
I'm not quite sure what they're doing with pacing. It is paced odd. But I mean, it is it is enjoyable. It's not like hard to watch or anything. Like, it's just it's just kind of whatever. I don't know how else to say it, but
yeah. It's very bland. It feels like eating white bread. It's like the white bread of Star Wars.
yeah, I don't even know how many episodes the season is, but I imagine it can't be like more than 6, to be honest.
And I imagine since it's streaming, we don't really know how it's performing, do we?
I mean, I'm sure it's performing well. I mean, it's Star Wars after all, but I honestly like it's probably, I don't know if this would be surprising or not. I mean, Star Wars is obviously like one of the biggest franchise in history, like if not the biggest franchise.
Yep.
But I think the Marvel shows probably do better number than the Star Wars shows.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the Mandalorian, like the original one. Like, I feel like everyone in America was watching that when it was on because of how good the first episode was. And then episode 2 and 3 were awesome.
Yeah. Is there only gonna
But
be five episodes?
I could be wrong.
Maybe there's only gonna be 5 episodes.
No, that's boring.
How many episodes? No. Oh my god. It says how many episodes is the Book of Boba Fett? It says 2. Motherfucker. There's already 3 out today.
Yeah.
What episode do we meet Boba Fett? Oh my god. I'm trying to figure out how many episodes it's gonna be. Episode count. Oh my god, it says 3. Oh my god. The Book of Boba Fett episode guide. There will be up to 7 episodes. Oh, the first and perhaps only season of Book of Boba Fett is made up of 7 episodes. Alright. I mean, that makes sense. Like, I really didn't expect it to be more because I don't think they could fill a 10-episode series. Like, if they did that, it would just feel like they were dragging it out, and it'd be really slow progression, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like Marvel Netflix shows. Like, they're all 13 episodes, and it just felt like it could have been less, you know? Like, I think season 2 Iron Fist maybe was only 7, and it felt way better paced and much better than season 1 because it was far less number of episodes. Like, they didn't have to extend the extra 6 hours, you know?
And you remember those days? Daredevil days.
Yeah.
Iron Fist days.
I remember leaving work at the harbor and like getting home and then just like binging all night. Like as soon as the series dropped.
Fuck, the first season of Daredevil was so good. What happened?
The second season was good too.
Yeah, they were all good.
Yeah. I just finished rewatching all of Daredevil. I didn't rewatch the first season though. I only rewatched season 2 and 3.
And I really like the Iron Fist too. I know a lot of people had issues with like the first season, but I don't know. I just really
I thought overall it was fine. I think like that it does start off slow. Once it gets into it, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think season 2 is pretty good. And I mean, I think Jessica Jones season 1 is like one of the best. But yeah, it's it's gonna be interesting to see what they do more with those characters moving forward.
Yeah, or hopefully they'll be rehired. I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, cause we don't. Yeah, have you seen Have you seen Hawkeye?
I watched parts of it and I kind of lost interest. I don't know if I should finish it or not. Should I?
You should probably finish it.
Okay. Why is it really good?
I mean, there's some interesting characters that are in it. And I think Kate Bishop is a great character. So, and Yelena comes back from Black Widow. She's really great.
I'll need to check that out then, probably.
Yeah,
most likely.
There's a scene with her and Kate that's like it's pretty good. Pretty good.
What are they at? Or are their tits out?
No, not that good.
No. God damn it! Why you got to set me up for those kind of things?
I mean, it's Disney. Come on, brother. So.
So in case anyone missed our views of Boba Fett, the first 2 episodes were like fucking toast and butter. So we're kind of waiting for them to like make cinnamon toast or something, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
and see what
sprinkle
happens.
some sugar, some cinnamon, and maybe it'll be much improved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll watch episode 3 probably tonight or tomorrow night. Probably tomorrow night.
I'm probably gonna watch episode 3 tonight as soon as I finish.
Yeah. But.
Yeah.
You never really know what you're gonna get with stuff like that, but
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it because like at least it's something new, right?
Yes, that's the most important thing. Like to me, any Star Wars content is good content. Like I'm sure. Did you ever watch Visions? By the way, Star Wars Visions.
Oh, that's the anime one, right?
Or yeah, the
I
different
watched like
animations,
half of it.
the different studios. Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck, I loved them.
yeah. Well, all right then. Anyway, sir, I have to go. Apparently,
So 1 hour politics, 30 minutes of nerd stuff.
my
Welcome to the Nerd Ledger, buddy.
my wife is looking at her watch like, "Yo, what is you doing, bruh?"
All right.
So,
It was good. It was good hanging with you.
yeah,
Have a good time doing whatever it is you guys are doing.
yeah. We have to go eat. We have to celebrate someone's birthday.
All right.
Birthday.
Have a good
So,
time. Tell them I
yeah.
hope that the world continues to spin around the sun with minimal axis tilt, so the planes don't crash into the ground.
I'm not gonna say that, but I appreciate it.
Okay, that's understandable. It's probably I don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Thanks to anybody who tuned
Yeah.
in, listening, podcast, whatever. Blah blah blah. Much love. Thank you for joining me, sir. Peace out.
We in here. Yep.
Yeah.
We out here.